I'll second,
Oh, no,
please.
Okay.
Today's the Board of Building Standards meeting for February 8th, 2024. I'm Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted Agus, board member.
Brian McSherry, Board Counsel.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scoria, Department of License and Inspections.
Megan Flay, Department of Licenses and Inspections.
Okay, our first case is for 5727 Contessing Avenue.
5725.
Oh, sorry. Contessing Avenue. Ms. Bell, I'm going to have to swear you in. Will you raise your right hand?
I affirm. Mhm.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I affirm.
Thank you. Megan, will you also, can I swear you in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I'm going to let the city present their case, and then Ms. Bell, you'll have the chance to speak.
Would you like me to put the MI number
Oh,
on?
can you read it in? I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. This is MI 2024-000-647 for the property 5725 Kingsessing Avenue.
Okay, Megan.
Okay. Give me 1 second. So per the case record, there was an unsafe case written for a shared wall at 5725 Kingsessing Avenue. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see it, okay? You would think by now I would have the hang of this, but all right. Are you seeing it?
No.
No? All right. All right. Now?
All right, it started.
Okay. So the appellant is filing an appeal that the city tore down the neighboring property, causing damage to her property. So this is the notice of violation that was sent out 12/8 of 23, letting her know that there was an unsafe condition placed on the property. Let's see. So the property at 5723 Kingsessing Avenue was placed out for demolition 9/15 of 23. Attached, I'm trying to rotate the screen. This wall right here is the violation that was placed on 5725. This wall was to be taken down, or is part of the specs for the demolition that was completed at the neighboring property. So I'm going to show the specs.
Okay.
I'm sorry. All right. So attached, you're going to see the demolition specs that were a part of the demolition of 5723 Kingsessing, where it says that the sealed porch wall with T paneling was supposed to be done as part of the demolition. There was an incident at the location between an occupant of the property and the contractor doing the demolition at that location, which caused him to not complete that project or to fulfill his requirement as part of the contract. So an unsafe condition was placed on 5725 Kingsessing Avenue.
Megan, can you clarify, when you say occupant of the property, of which property?
The occupant at the property of 5723, when the contractor went to complete the removal or the repairing of that wall, an occupant of 5723 Kingsessing, there was an incident with the contractor doing the job and an occupant of the property, which caused the contractor to remove himself from that, not fulfilling not fulfilling the specs as a part of that demolition.
All right, so it was the owner of the property being demolished.
I'm
That-
the owner.
Right.
It
So
wasn't
the
the owner, I'm the owner.
Right, well, so what I know is that there was a demolition at 5725 King Sessing. I'm sorry, at 5723 King Sessing. The specs as part of the demolition were that the porch at 5725 King Sessing Avenue was to be sealed with T2 paneling. At the time that the contractor went to fulfill that part of the specs, there was an incident with an occupant of the property and the contractor, which caused the contractor to have to remove himself from the property.
Has a violation been issued to
Yes.
the owner of that property as well?
The violation, well, the demolition was done at that property. So that has been closed. But because it is a shared wall with 5723, the unsafe violation has been placed on that property.
Well, sorry, on both properties?
No, only on 5723.
Well, why wouldn't it have been placed on the one that was doing the demolition that failed to complete the demolition?
The demolition, the specs were a part of that demolition. So they were not able to complete because the owner or an occupant of that property at 5725 would not allow them to.
Forgive me,
Right.
Let's forget about the numbers first.
Okay.
Are you talking about Ms. Bell's property or are you talking about the demolished property?
The occupant at Miss Bell's property
Oh.
would not allow the contractor to do work to that wall.
Got it, okay.
I've requested, there was no occupant at my property, it's my property, that could give the okay or not okay for someone to demolish that wall. I mean, for years, we've called to make 5723 a safe house. There was a hole in the roof. In the second floor and the first floor that went all the way to the basement. And people was going in and out that house for years. We've been the ones that called the city, that called to get the house made safe for years. We've used our money to help fix a couple of things in there, so people wouldn't go in there. So I don't know how that would equate to now that the city is finally doing something to finally decided to take that property down. And now it's like it comes back on me. I've gotten various trash. People would dump mattresses, dump trash over there all the time. And I would get the violation. And I would constantly have to go to court, show them pictures of the house next door, that it's over there. There was no one at my property. I don't know who it was. There was no one at my property. I asked did they get a name. They said no. And I wasn't even notified that this property was being demolished.
So if we can ask you, if a violation is issued to the neighboring property and they're instructed, they can either appeal it or if they don't, instructed to demolish that, do you have any objection to it being demolished?
I don't have an objection to it being demolished. I mean, if I could have it my way, I would ask if it could be, because it's going to be different.
Sure.
And on such short notice, I was asked if it could be kind of like halfway, if it could be taken down, kind of where it doesn't look odd, maybe about 6 feet.
Well, that's the specs call for sealing that wall with the T2 paneling. So so what the department's hope is today is to come into an agreement with the owner so the contractor can fulfill the specifications to seal that wall how it was supposed to be sealed. And then in that case, the violation would be closed.
Okay.
If
Okay, so when
the
you say-
owner, right, so if the owner
Say
does
seal it,
not,
What does that mean?
well, the specifications were to seal it. So that's with the T2 paneling. So if,
Megan, are there any drawings or images that show what that will be?
no, what it would look like after it was complete?
Yeah,
No.
And I believe that needs, maybe Jace can jump in. I believe that needs to be a rated wall since it is a wall on a property line. Would the city be making sure that's accomplished?
Yeah, it would require to be a rated wall. It would be required to be a rated wall if it's on the property line.
So Ms. Bell, it sounds like the city wants to fix it at their cost. They would just be they would be sealing up the exposed wood studs on the backside of it.
I'm in agreement of that.
Right, so if the contractor is able to go back out and fulfill the contract of which he was hired to do the demolition, then pending that being completed, the department would close out the unsafe case. If Ms. Bell did not agree to that, then their violation would remain open and the repair of the wall would be to the responsibility of her. But if our hope is to agree that she will allow us onto the property to complete the repair of that wall to seal it up.
just to clarify one thing,
Mhm.
Jace, it appeared from the photo that that wall is sort of coming from the front wall of the building alongside the bay, alongside the porch, but is not between the living space and adjacent property. It's essentially, yeah, it's a freestanding wall. Does that need to be rated?
If it's on the property line, most likely because, yeah, I won't really know until it looks like it's over the property line. So it's required to be rated if any kind of construction is on there.
And Megan, would the top also get sealed? I mean, the top looks open and exposed. That would let water into the wood frame.
Yes, it would.
Is-
It would.
Is that an opening or is that a,
Where the kind of the white is.
Right
Right.
here,
right?
It's not.
it looks
open.
like
It's
it's,
not open.
no.
Oh, it's not open. Okay.
Now it looks like stucco. All right, so Ms. Bell, you'll agree to let the city just come in and finish
Yeah,
treating that wall. The wall will remain at the height that it is. They're just gonna finish it on the back side and the top.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I also did contact the, L&I, I think it's called contractual department. Because when my steps was broken, when they took down, it was cracked, when they took down the property. And also I'm getting water in my basement. So they were supposed to come over tomorrow. Because they didn't barge the side of the house correctly. So just an FYI that they're coming tomorrow to look at that.
You might want to, while you're there, just talk with them about, they can clarify for you what will be done to that, the remainder of that wall, just so, you know, you have a clearer picture.
Okay, and I'm sure my phone number is on file because like I said, I did hear from the neighbors that they had a issue with the contractors that came out there. They had issues with blocking in their cars, parking spaces, the trucks parked on their property, which is on their pavement. But there's no one at that property that can say yay or nay to anything.
Yeah, well, there's nothing that we can do addressing those things right now. I think we
Yeah.
have a fairly narrow focus.
So I just wanted to make sure everybody, whoever needs my telephone number, they have my telephone number. And they
Okay,
get the
good.
name of anybody who tries to say, anything.
Is that your residence?
No, do I live there? No.
Okay. Does anyone live there?
Yes,
Okay, and
Yeah.
you don't believe that, as far as you know, nobody was contacted by that contractor
no,
and they told them to stop?
no,
Okay,
no. And I even asked the neighbor, who did they see, did they see someone out there that would have done that? I mean, we have a person on the block that has special needs. I don't know if it could have been him, but
okay. All right, well, thank you, the city.
Yep.
We'll get it finished.
thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Everybody have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.
End recording. Our next hearing is to decide on a late appeal for 618 West Roosevelt Boulevard. Phil, do you want to read it into the record?
This matter concerns hearing appeal 2024-000-353 for the property located at 618 West Roosevelt Boulevard.
All right, they have an ID structure and they are appealing to be heard at our next hearing. I'm in agreement with that, Ed,
I'm in agreement with that.
and we'll hear it at our next hearing in February. End recording. Hi, I'm Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted August, board member.
Ryan McSherry, Board Counsel.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scoria, Department of License and Inspections.
We don't have a fire department here, I just realized.
Oh,
Do we need
Let's hold
him?
and stop recording and see if we can get the fire department in. Okay, we've added John Dimes of the Philadelphia Fire Department to this hearing. Phil, can you read the address in?
Yes, this is MI 2024-000-302 for the property located at 715 North 4th Street. The appellant is Ian Toner of Toner Architects, and he's present in the room.
Okay, Ian, I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, you can present your case.
Okay, this is a project that is construction is for the most part complete. We had lowered the basement floor, not with underpinning, just to the bottom of the walls to gain some ceiling height. We had proposed a basement bedroom. There is a crawl space in the rear and also no rear alley access. So we were proposing a egress well in the sidewalk. It was approved through streets and L&I, everything was great. We got a call from the contractor towards the end. Our involvement during construction was very, very limited, only to we have a question or a problem, and that was it. So the contractor contacted us right as he was getting ready to try to get his close out his permit and get his C of O, saying that PGW had come out and seen, and I have a photo I could show you, saw that there's the egress well has a gas main running through it that he just cut the well around when he installed it. So I'm going to show you that picture now. Find it. Oh, okay, that's not helpful. Okay, I'll try to get it back open again. So anyway, there's like an 8-inch gas main hanging in the middle of the well. And I'm not sure why this didn't come up when he was digging or when he contacted One Call, which he should have done, or any of these other things. But PGW came out, I guess, to look at the gas meter and sign off on everything. And they were like, absolutely not, I mean, I'm sure this is no surprise to any of us that you can't do that. So what we said we would try to do is we would, and I can't find this photo, but I think I've described it as much as you need.
well, I think,
We-
it would be helpful to see
Yeah,
Okay. I'll try to dig it up as I'm talking. If I seem a little distracted, that'll be why, but
Well, no,
I'm
I
gonna
think
do.
what would be good to see is sort of the floor plan where we see, you know, the sidewalk, the steps, basically what's out there. And if you can clarify, if this main is essentially running in this location parallel to the building, so no matter where you put this well, it would be impacted. So
Yeah,
whatever.
okay. I don't know, Jace, do you hold those drawings on hand for these meetings, or should I open them up?
I can open up the floor plan that you showed to your examiner.
Okay,
Do you see the plans?
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. So this is the infill, this is the well that was infilled in right here. I'm gonna try to look for a utility plan to see if there's a.
oh, so it's already been infilled.
It's
no,
already-
it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. Okay.
We were, so what we were proposing was that we would remove the finished space from the basement and infill the well, because there is no compliant well to be had here.
Okay.
So, and then obviously that was rejected because we did change the ceiling height in the basement. So, you know, we're kind of in this, we're stuck in it unless we, I don't know, we fill in the basement back to the original height. There's really, I mean, we could do a well that doesn't have a compliant window. It will be shallower. When I am able to share the photo, I found it. We can, the main appears to be pretty much at the bottom of the well. So we could bring the sill up and do a smaller window, but it's still not going to meet the egress requirement for the basement, finished or not. And I mean, we know we can't put a bedroom down there anymore. We already planned to remove that. We're just kind of stuck. Like, I feel like coming to you was really our only option for trying to figure out what to do now. I honestly don't know what we should do here.
All right, Jace, you want to stop your share so you
Sure.
can show us the picture?
Okay. Okay, so this is it right here.
So if you were, I don't know if PGW has requirements, if you were to backfill that with concrete, or I'm assuming they would want it encased. How much cover do you need on it? I mean,
And
you still
how
have-
high is it above the, you know, the bottom of the well? Is it something that could be stepped up onto, or is it too high to do that?
Well, it's right at the bottom of the well. And he said it's an 8-inch line. So, I mean, I guess depending on how much concrete we have to cover it in, you know, it's 8 plus whatever that is.
I mean, let's say hypothetically, if that became the second step, and then there's one more step inboard of that, but still, you know, with 1.5 feet from the window, I mean, functionally, do you think you could get out the window and up?
I mean, I would think so, but I've never tried to climb in or out of one of these before. And I know it's also intended for fire personnel to be able to get in with all their gear on. And so I certainly couldn't comment on that.
Yeah, well, John can talk about that perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as far as, I mean, again, with a pack on, I mean, you'd have to see a picture, get the dimensions if you got to encase that pipe. And I mean, we've actually, it was kind of funny. We had survival training, I guess about 5-6 years ago. And we actually had to go through, like, I think it was like a 2 foot by 2 foot hole and maneuver our bodies by taking off the pack and stuff. So are there ways to do it? Yeah. I mean, but in an event of emergency, if we're in that basement and we have to bail out because, you know, it's now a confined space because we can't go up the steps and that's our way out, it would be troublesome. I mean, I think anybody, whether you're a fireman or not, can look at that and say, you know, if you threw an encasing around there to squeeze that down even further, there would be difficulty there, especially in a time of the essence situation.
So the opening of the operable window is only, what's that, 24 inches it's required? The width?
57 square inches, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's minimum like 20 by 24, but if you do a 20 by 24, it's not big enough. But I think those are the two minimum dimensions.
Okay.
And you're in excess of that with what you have there, it looks like.
Honestly, I mean, it's a Bowman Kemp window, so I haven't measured it, but I mean, they make these specifically for this application. So that's something I can confirm with the contractor that we're meeting all those things.
And it's a slider, so you only get one of those sides that you can sit out in.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a slider.
Huh.
Yeah, so, and I guess the ladder was not installed yet in that well.
It hasn't been, but honestly, I'd have to measure the depth of it to know if it's required, because it under a certain depth that it's not required to have a ladder. I don't
Oh.
know. If one is required, no, it's not in there now.
How, at this point, how deep below the sidewalk level would you say that concrete slab is? Or the windowsill height?
I think it's about 3 feet down, but I could get all that information. I can go make a site visit and answer a lot of these questions.
No, about the, I mean,
Yeah.
so it's very shallow.
If the depth is more than 44 inches, it needs a ladder.
So you're saying
So that
probably
might help.
less than 44. Yeah. But then it's a question of, from a safety standpoint, if this is encased in concrete, does PGW consider it, safe? It may require,
I don't know what their minimum cover is. I mean, it might be 2 feet for all we know.
well, that's what I'm saying. They have to make a call on this. It probably would require that corrugated, the well, to be pulled out and
Mhm.
encase it and then, coat that and put it back, but
Yeah, I mean, we intended for this to be concrete in the first place, so they cut back to the metal to, save cost.
I think we need to continue this. We need input from PGW to see what kind of encasement they would need to see if this is even feasible. Because it makes sense to me if, we come out about 4 inches, that's about an 8-inch diameter, you said, Ian?
Yeah,
4 inches out, 4 inches above, you have a 1-foot step there. And that wouldn't be horrific. But we need to know what PGW needs.
yeah,
For
okay. Can
just
I ask,
oh,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
if it gets to the point where it's basically we can't have a window, like if PGW wants enough cover that it makes a window just not possible at all, I mean, is it worth talking now about what would happen after that?
Well, Ian, one thing I wanted to ask Chase, just to advise us on the use of the basement. If it's not a bedroom, if it's simply utility space, presumably they wouldn't need the.
Yeah, if it's only utilities, I
But
think
if it's storage, it would still need the egress window.
the wording in the code, it says, give me the wording, the exact wording. Give me a sec.
I want to say there's like a 250 some square foot
Yeah,
maximum.
Yeah, that sounds right, but
no, not exceeding 200 square feet.
No.
So basements, it just as basements have attics, and every sleeping room shall have not less than one emergency escape and rescue opening. Let's see.
I mean, if it's a storage area or B, a
It's
deck.
just the total floor area is what gets them. They had to be limited to 200. I think. What's your square footage, Ian? For that base.
Certainly more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head, and it may be on the drawings. I didn't think to look that up before the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other, the trigger here too is that the floor height changed. And I
Right.
know that,
That's the requirement too.
I mean, I don't think we ever have basements less than 200 square feet, but I know that whenever we've done these renovations, if the floor moved, they were putting down there.
Right.
Right.
Okay, well, I will,
Yeah.
is me having a conversation with PGW gonna be good enough for, evidence for you of what they said, or do we need something in writing to come back with?
ideally, if you could get something in writing, that would be
Okay.
helpful.
I mean, I'd prefer it that way, so we don't get told one thing and then get told something else
Exactly.
later.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
Based on what I'm finding online, and they say it might be around 14 inches to 18 inches, so I don't know. I think there's special circumstances if you're in a tough situation, but
okay,
yeah, I think I'm not using PWD guidelines. I think it's 18 inches, but PGW might have more stricter guidelines, so I'm not sure.
okay. I'll try to track somebody down to find out an answer then.
Okay.
All right, these questions all make perfect sense.
And then, you know, if it is more cumbersome, maybe we can talk about raising the windowsill on the inside, building steps on the inside. Something to hopefully maybe still make that work. So maybe it won't be as deep, but you'll still have the width required.
Mhm.
But first, let's find out the PGW requirements.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Thanks. So I'll just who do I contact then to get back on the calendar once we have some more information?
Deborah Richardson.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
So we'll continue
All right,
this.
thanks, Ian.
Hmm. You gotta do a Pennsylvania one call.